Many people around the world right now are scratching their heads wondering what is going on in Brazil. Why is the president of Brazil standing in solidarity with Vladimir Putin? I thought they were part of the West. I thought they were pro-capitalism. Well, they are. But they do have their own interests to worry about. In today's video, I'm going to reveal a piece of information that I got not very long ago that explains everything. Real quick, though, just wanted to say thank you. I should do this more often than I do to everyone who's joined us over Patreon. You guys have absolutely been amazing. The response has been surprising. So many have signed up. It's a place where we can go take the gloves off and talk about things that people don't necessarily think about right away. And sometimes the content is a little edgy. It's about the idea of getting out of the emotions of everything and looking at things clinically and critically using thought, not emotion. But once again, $1 per month, less than that if you sign up for a year. Would love to have you over there. But why is the president of Brazil stating unequivocally he's going to remain neutral in this issue with Ukraine and stand technically in solidarity with the president of Russia, Vladimir Putin, when it seems like the entire world is going the other direction? Well, I have been remiss in talking about a channel called BP Earthwatch. I'm sure a lot of you are familiar with who he is. He's out of Biloxi, Mississippi, right down the panhandle of Florida. Absolutely a fantastic website. You can see so many things here. Weather news, emergency preparedness, pardon me. But earlier today, he put out a video, and this explains it completely. 75% of the planet's fertilizer will not be shipped. Now, of course, this is his video. I'll let you go find this for yourself. His channel's The Real BP Earthwatch. And in about 9 minutes and 43 seconds, he lays it out perfectly and how you should react to this. Russia controls the vast majority of the world's fertilizer supply. And they could shut it off right now in response to the sanctions. When I heard him say it, I couldn't believe the numbers that he was talking about as far as a percentage of the world's supply that was controlled. So I looked up on my own, and he is absolutely right. BP Earthwatch is exactly right. I found this article from Russia with monopolies. Moscow's control of supply chains could stymie America's efforts to punish Putin for his war on Ukraine. Now, will you read this? It's unbelievable. The problem with our sanction regime is that Russia has crucial global monopolies, not only significant positions in energy, which are well known, but especially in the global fertilizer supply chain, which are considerably less well known. Any sanction has the potential to drastically influence the supply and price of fertilizer and thus food on the world market. The global fertilizer industry includes three main categories: nitrogen, potash, and phosphorus fertilizers. Potash is a potassium-rich salt fertilizer that enhances plant quality and is responsible for 20% of global fertilizer demand. With its most fervent ally in Europe, Belarus, Russia has a 40% market share in global production and export of potash fertilizer. The two autocracies form an informal cartel in the potash market, made up of Uralkali and Belaruskali, with the Belarusian potash company being the latter's export arm. Now the numbers get even more striking. Before sanctions were imposed, global potash prices were already at a 13-year high. Prices have soared over the past year, alarming farmers across the world. Potash prices saw a 71% increase in 2021 from $350 per ton to $600 per ton. The spot prices last week showed that the number had reached $815 per ton. U.S. sanctions on Belarus are likely to exacerbate that issue. Belaruskali has announced that they're not going to be able to meet their contracts. Other corporations in this industry are not planning on increasing production and would face challenges in their attempt. Now, here's where the numbers get absolutely staggering. Talking about the 2007-2008 global food price crisis. Russia and Belarus cut potash production to drastically raise prices and increase profits. They increased it by 400% while dropping production by 39%. Russia is also a dominant player in the world's nitrogen fertilizer market. While it only has a 16.5% market share of global exports, Russia manufactures ammonium nitrate, the key ingredient needed for the fertilizer, and has a close to 66% global market share in the production of the chemical. Earlier this month, Russia decided to impose an export ban on the ammonium nitrate, and this is covered by BP Earthwatch, to ensure an affordable supply for its own farmers until April 2. This ban could raise the price of fertilizer in the U.S. at a time when the price of urea and diammonium phosphate, two fertilizers requiring ammonium nitrate, have been up 90% and 30% in the past year. Russia's power in the export market for nitrogen fertilizer over the past few decades has meant having dominant market shares ranging from 60 to 100% in nitrogen fertilizer exports to key U.S. allies and NATO members. They also provide a key input for phosphate fertilizers through its company Uralchem. Russia provides ammonia to Morocco, the largest phosphate fertilizer producer in the world, with 75% of phosphate reserves. The country's government-owned phosphate fertilizer producer, OCP, has about a 34% market share and 49% in phosphoric acid. Morocco sources more than half of their ammonia from Russia. And what this all breaks down to, and plus with wheat, on top of that, Turkey, for example, that imports 75% of its wheat from Russia. So long story short, they could turn the screws. And Brazil is a big player in the markets, in the agriculture markets. And this explains exactly what's going on. They probably have secured their supply of fertilizer so that they can maintain a position in the markets by just remaining neutral and saying they're going to stay out of it and not side one way or the other. But the president of Brazil has come out and said that he hopes for a quick end to hostilities, but he also said that he stands in solidarity with the leader of Russia. So that's pretty clear what this is. So long story short, what the real BP Earthwatch was saying is that if you haven't gotten food, you should get it. And you should get it quickly. Because it's not going to take very much. Because a lot of people don't think about what grain production really is all tied to. For example, you got to feed cattle and livestock something, right? If there's a huge shortage in grain products around the world, what's going to happen to all of the feed for all of those stock animals? That means milk, that means butter, that means eggs, that means yogurt, that means cheese, that means pork. That means anything that has a grain product, dog food, cat food. All of that is tied together. All of it is tied together. Once again, the title of the video, 75% of the planet's fertilizer will not be shipped. BP, the real BP Earthwatch. Now, as an aside, the guy is also a guitar player like myself, but he's way better than I am. I believe he was in a band as well. He has a cover, Joe Satriani's Crying. Definitely listen to this. Excellent, excellent stuff. Brazil is a huge supplier of oranges and citrus and many, many other things. They are absolutely 100% self-sufficient in food production. Many people don't know that. They are almost completely self-sufficient, in petroleum as well. There are certain types of petroleum products that they have to, but as far as creating their own fuel for their cars, they do it themselves. So you're starting to see something. We know that Nicolas Maduro in Venezuela stands with Vladimir Putin. How long do you think it's going to be before perhaps Nicolas Maduro and Jair Bolsonaro have a chat? about the amount of power that they could wield in the world with oil, with an alliance, with food production. You'd never see a starving Venezuelan again. And what would that mean overall? What it would mean is this: the new power players in the world wouldn't be who you think. You see an alliance between Brazil and Venezuela, with their oil. Still, the largest known proven oil reserves in the world are in Venezuela and Cuba. And they start to turn the screws when it comes to food supply. And you see them start to work with places like Russia. And they can always say, you know what, North America? If you don't like our terms, we can always ship to India. They got billions of people. We can always ship to China. They got billions of people. Capitalism confirmed. Oh, the tangled web we weave, Washington, D.C. And I'll let my audience finish the rest of that little poem. So, anyway, listen to your elders. And BP Earthwatch is one of mine. He's quite a bit older than I am. And he is one of the best. Absolutely one of the most intelligent men on the planet. He's had his own war with YouTube. I've had mine. But believe me, you can learn a lot. And based on what he said, and like I said, I had no idea they controlled this much of the world's fertilizer. That's huge. Absolutely huge. So on his website, there's places you can click to get emergency food supplies. There's information about earthquakes, volcanoes, weather phenomenon, sun phenomenon. Looks like he has a link to Tina's Country Kitchen. I'm not sure what that is, but that looks like something interesting. The guitar stratosphere, power options, radiation meters. It's all here. So this is actually, the website is bpearthwatch.com, just like it sounds. His YouTube channel is The Real BP Earthwatch. So anyway, check him out. But if you haven't gotten your stuff, get it soon. April 2nd is going to be here before you know it. God bless, like, share, subscribe, and we'll see you guys next time.